Hello there. This is MD. Here with you on SaskiYano. Here we go again. We are in a new After Effects tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm gonna pick up right where I left off in the last tutorial, talking about motion tracking. But in this tutorial, you gonna learn how to apply that motion tracking data to an object, how to attach some text to that object. So follows our car down the road. The next step is I need something to apply this tracking data to. If you can press U, you will see some detail about this track. You can see the confidence that After Effects has in thinking that it's tracked the right thing. And overall that's pretty high. We are looking pretty good. At the end there drops down a little bit. Actually, because the trailer changes perspective. So the shape of the object is there's not as much contrast there. I jump back over here to the tracker panel. I need to find a target for this to attach to. If I click at a target, I don't have anything to attach this tracking data to. So I'm gonna do is I'm gonna right click down here. I'm going to make myself a null object. A null object is invisible layer that has all the properties of a visible layer. You can see I have full transform properties here. But I can use this to apply the tracking data to. And then I can attach something to this null so that it will follow all of the movements that make more sense in just a second. So now that I have something else in my composition that I can apply my tracking data to, I'm gonna come over here to the tracker panel. With my layer selected, choose edit target. Make sure that it is targeting the right layer. Null number 1. And I'm going to apply that tracking data. I want to apply both in the X and the Y and press OK. This kicks me back out to my composition. If I scrub along here in the timeline, you can see that null object is locked to that car. Every once in a while looks like it skips not. Because it's not rendering all the frames. It's kind of catching up to the frame. Now if I play this, you can't see anything. Because like I said, that null object is invisible. But if I click on it, I can see there's a motion path here. I can see that there's all these dots. And if I press U with the null selected, that will show me all the keyframes that have been created on this layer. You can see there's a position keyframe on every single frame. Now, like I said the beginning of this tutorial, I want to attach some text to this car. If I applied the tracking data to the text, which I could have done, if I want to modify the position of the text, that would be tricky. Because if I modify the position of this null, it's going to change those keyframes. And so it's not gonna look like it's tracking. Quite right. You can do it. But it's kind of a pain. The easiest way to do it, to apply the tracking data to an intermediary object, like this null object, then create the text. Just like that. Then with the selection tool. And I will scale this down while holding shift to make sure it doesn't get squirrely looking. I'll position it about where I wanted. Then I will use this little pick whip here. This is the parent pick whip. And I will parent the car text layer to the null object. And that means that whatever the null object does, the car layer, because it's a child of this layer, it will follow along. If the null moves, the car will move. If the null scales, the car will scale. If the null rotates, the car will rotate. And with this method, I can reposition this. In fact, I can even apply keyframes to this. completely independently from this null object. But if I play this, it's not going to affect how that text actually is moving, because that data is baked into this null object here. Now, it would be cool if I track the scale, which I could have done. However, that would have been tricky. And there's another way to cheat that. Because it would be nice if the car text grew in size with the car. Because the car gets bigger as it gets closer to the camera. It might be cool if that happened. So I could have tracked the scale. But an easier way to do that is to just set a scale keyframe. Go to the end and just scale it up. And this is a really easy cheat. It won't be exacting. You can adjust this. That looks like too much scale at the end. Or maybe I just increase the scale at the beginning a little bit, as long as it scales up a little bit. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. And now, I have a really nice track. It looks like it's scaling with the car, even though it's not. We didn't track the scale. And that is smooth as silk. And it's looking great. Now null tracks go that well. Sometimes you have to adjust things and modify your track and go back and retract certain areas and get creative to get a track to work for you. In this particular case, it was pretty easy. We had a high contrast feature. We can track it through the part of the shot that we wanted to. If you want to track this as a one off the screen, we have to do some manual keyframes of this null to mimic where the car was going as it left the screen, because After Effects cannot track this as it moves off the screen. If you wanted to do that, you have to just throw some extra keyframes on the position and then move the null until it looked right. But there's lots of different ways to solve these types of problems in After Effects. All it takes is a little bit of creativity and some experimentation. For now, it's time to move on to the next tutorial, where you're gonna learn about camera tracking. So check that out. Finally, we are done for today. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave your comment down below in the comments section. Also, if you want to learn more, take a look at our first channel, Everything PS. See you next time. Bye.